Welcome to Brand Rescue, a public relations podcast where we dig into the truth about what it's actually like to work in PR. I'm Whitney Lee. I ditched my fancy corporate job to freelance in small town USA and ended up building an international PR agency. On this show, we skip all the BS and sugarcoating and get into the conversations our industry should be having. It's all real talk, and we love a hot take. Glad you're here. Let's get to it. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Today's interview is going to be a really fun one. We're talking a little bit about the wedding industry, but really tying it back to PR and kind of some cool stuff that our guest has been through to help promote her business. So I want to introduce y'all to Chelsea Gaytan. She's the owner and founder of Black Tie Optional. Hey, Chelsea, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
I'm so excited to have you on today. I always like to kick these off by letting you tell us a little bit about you and your journey of how you started a wedding planning company or event design. I guess you do a lot more than just weddings, but give us a little bit of background about you and the company, Black Tie Optional.
Yeah, my pleasure. Gosh, how long do we have? So I started Black Tie Optional back in basically 2020, in the wake of COVID. So funny story, I was a flight attendant at the time, started my career in corporate America and did the whole corporate world thing. And that's actually how I got into events. Was my very first job out of college was as a marketing manager for Shea Homes. And so I did a lot of their grand opening events all over Arizona. And so that's how I like dipped my toe into events. And then it was very corporate and I was like, okay, this is not like the corporate life isn't for me. So I quit to start my first business, which was a clothing company, and it just like failed so miserably. I had no plan, I had no money, it was so stupid. And
I didn't know you did a clothing company.
yeah, I had a whole like clothing company. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like I swear to you, I invented Rent the Runway before Rent the Runway existed. It was like a paper that I wrote in college that I wanted to start this like rental clothing line because in college I was like a big party girl and I hated how I had to buy like a new outfit for every party that I went to. And I was like, God, it would be so great if you could just like rent dresses. And so like that was kind of the first business that I launched was this like boutique, but I needed like money. So I was selling stuff first and not renting it quite yet. And then it just never took off. So long story short, first business failed miserably. I was so poor. And so I had to go back into shitty corporate life to, just survive. And I was working in insurance. I don't know if you know that about me either. I was working in
No,
insurance. I was selling like annuities, which I still don't even know what the fuck those are.
me neither.
Did not do well, obviously. And so, yeah, it was a long story. But, I was like, okay, I hate this so much. Like, what is like the absolute opposite thing that I could possibly do from corporate America? Like, I had kind of a quarter life crisis and was just like, I can't do it. And so I became a flight attendant.
Which sounds
And
awesome. I could totally see you in that hot little outfit, like
yeah, with my little heels and my red lipstick and the freaking scarf, and oh, I loved it. And so yeah, I spent like a few years as a flight attendant and just traveled all over, and it was so great. And they don't pay you very well when you're a new flight attendant, so I also had a job for a tech startup doing sales. So I would like get to my layover hotel and like hop on my computer and sell stuff and whatever. And so I've just like always been a hustler. And then COVID happened, and I was laid off from like both of those jobs at the same time, and I was planning my own wedding. And so it was just very jarring, like I was planning our wedding, which is obviously expensive, and I lost both my jobs, and then COVID was just this whole like mind fuck of a situation, and it was just a lot. And because of my, background in event planning, I did a pretty good job planning my own wedding, and my vendors were like, dude, you're freakishly good at this. Like, why are you so good at planning your wedding? You're so organized, you communicate so great. I was like, oh, I used to do this for corporate. And my florist actually, she was like the biggest push to start this. She like believed in me so much and cheered me on so hard, and like so much so that she actually like hired me to do her daughter's wedding. Before I even had a business, she was like, "Hey, my daughter's getting married. Like I want you to coordinate it. Like I just think that that you need to do this. I was like, okay. So my first wedding ever was like for her daughter in their backyard, and it was so cute. And yeah, and Black Tie Optional was born. And so it actually turned out to be the biggest blessing that this was like kind of in the wake of COVID, because there was this huge backlog of weddings and people who had to wait or postpone and needed help. And like existing planners, their books were already full, and so new couples, it was just like this perfect storm of me being able to like really take off with the new business, and just kind of bootstrapping the branding, if you want to talk about, marketing and PR when you haven't done weddings yet. There's a whole strategy that I can talk about there. But yeah, and then just kind of like rode that whole wave and grew it over the last whatever 6 years, and now we're a team of five, really, and a bunch of really awesome seasonal assistants that help us out during busy season. And we've done primarily weddings many of those years, and now we're doing, I'm branching back into the corporate stuff that I ran away from back then, but starting to do more like brand activations and company mixers and retreats and things like that. So it's like a very full circle moment, which is cool.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And you guys do like really cool luxury type stuff. So, right?
Yeah, yeah. We specialize in more of like a kind of, we call it black sheep energy. So this very like off the beaten path, outside the box approach to luxury design. So if you're looking for something that's like not your traditional cookie cutter experience, and you want something that kind of pushes the envelope a little bit, I think that's our niche.
What do you think? Okay, so I know that the wedding industry is really unique because a lot of businesses thrive off building a reputation because it brings customers back over and over again. But in your space, you're probably hoping customers don't come back because that means they got a divorce, right?
Right, right.
So I feel like the wedding, especially for the planners, the wedding industry is so unique because the repeat business really isn't there, right? So you're in the space where you're constantly having to get new people over and over and over again, and it's a very transactional. You spend 6 months a year with these people, probably become so close to them,
Yeah.
um, plan this dream event for them, and then it's like, okay, nice to know you, and then you have to constantly be chasing new business. How do you even manage that?
I don't sleep.
Yeah.
No, no. No, I mean, yeah, it's tricky because you're right. It's not membership based. It's not ongoing guaranteed revenue. It's tough. But we just market ourselves as best as we can. It's very relationship driven. So like a big bulk of our leads come from venue referrals. And so we've just like really established our venue relationships over time, performing really well at the weddings that we had at particular venues, and kind of became trusted partners all over the valley. And so now, they do a lot of the selling for us, thank goodness, because I couldn't keep up with trying to constantly be like the first planner that people see. So it's tough because we're on a list of planners, but at least it's, takes it from hundreds down to maybe 10 or something like that. And then, they shop around for like the right vibe.
Yeah, for sure, and I think it's all about connection too. When they meet you, when they meet the team and everything, it's like, who do I want to work with? Who do I've been a bride. It's been a long time, but I've been a bride. And it's like, who do I feel like I vibe with enough that I can it's such a personal experience where it's like, I need a wedding planner that I can like shoot them so straight of like, I hate this. I really want this. This is not what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Like somebody that you can like level with, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's probably a lot about like meeting you and the team, you know?
Yeah, and honestly, I think I for a very long time underestimated how powerful that was. I've always been like a relationship person, a connector. I love talking to people. I love finding like common threads between people. But selling myself as the business, like when I very first started and it was only me, I didn't have a team yet. Selling myself as the commodity was so difficult for me because I was like, I don't know. I've always had a hard time kind of like tooting my own horn. And so it really was a lot about trying to juggle, um, gassing myself up, which is uncomfortable for me. But then also like telling them what they're going to get. And it wasn't until recently that I learned like what they're going to get in this space doesn't matter as much as like how they're going to feel. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's been one of the most transformative, like, sales approach shifts that I've had in the last year or two is not focusing so much on this bullet point list of like you're gonna get, 6 calls and I don't
Yeah.
know, unlimited text communication or whatever. It's like whatever, like every planner in the space has this list of things that you get when you book with them, but it's way more about like how do you want your wedding day to feel? How do you want, if it's a brand activation, how do you want your potential customers to experience your brand? What's like the emotion that we're conveying? It's the same exact way that we approach weddings, is like, how do you want your guests to experience the space? How do you want to feel throughout your day? And then back to like the team, like, how do you want your planning experience to feel? Do you want it to be super like rigid and structured and uppity? Like, we're not for you. we're we're like very casual, very chill, very down to earth. We're gonna tell it like it is. We're gonna become best friends. And to your point about you work with these people so closely for a year and then it's like bye, have a nice life. Like, we're actually pretty close with like 99% of our couples to this day. Like, we still talk to them. I just went to a master's party. My one of my like very early couples throws a master's party every year, and I just went to theirs. And like, we've been to each other's baby showers, and you just get so close, it's impossible to detach after the wedding.
Yeah, especially like such a special moment in somebody's life, like they're
Yeah.
gonna remember that forever. I also remember, okay, so for everybody listening, a little backstory. Chelsea and I know each other through like a business group that we both joined for business owners many years ago, gosh, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that,
Yeah.
and, we're both Leos, so naturally, the sun attracts the sun, and we just vibed and became friends over the years, so, but I remember one of the this has been years ago, you had some kind of opportunity with a magazine, right? A magazine was like, "Hey, will you do this photo shoot with us?" Right?
Yeah.
Arizona Bride or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
"Will you do this photo shoot with us?" And I remember Chelsea came to me and was like, do I do this? Is it worth it? Like, how do I know? What do I ask them? Like, what am I going to get out of this? Like, what should I be careful of? And I like behind the scenes, like, okay, you're going to ask them this. You're going to tell them this. You're going to say you're not doing it unless they say this. And, like we're
Yeah.
like chatting back and forth. But I feel like the Arizona Bride feature was like one little like milestone that really helped get your name out there.
100%. I seriously attribute that shoot to our exponential growth. 100%, because it finally gave me the opportunity to design to my full potential, because up until that point I was restricted by the budgets of the people that were choosing to book me. And when you don't have a huge portfolio yet and you built your own website, like, you're only going to get a certain level of clientele. And that's no shade whatsoever to the people who booked me early on. They're amazing people and their weddings were fantastic. But, super luxury brides and high-end businesses weren't booking somebody who like built their own website. So it finally gave me the opportunity to like really flex my design skills, because it was all collaborative with other vendors who were trying to show off their skills too. And it was for an editorial, it was guaranteed cover of this magazine. So everybody was like, okay, we're going to go big. And so, yeah, it was this great opportunity to finally like really do it up. And then I got to use those images in my social and on my website to be like, here's what I'm capable of. And it started to attract, more people who were a little bit more design heavy. And then it just kind of snowballed from there.
Isn't that interesting? We have so many clients that will try to negotiate something like that for them, and they get their panties such in a wad because they're like, "I don't like to do stuff for free. What am I
Yeah.
getting out of this?" And I'm like, this could be, first of all, I'm never going to recommend something to a client that is a bust. You know what I mean? Like, I vet the crap out of it and I'm like, is this legit? What is this? I ask a lot of questions. But we have so many clients that'll turn stuff down like this because they think that the ROI is not direct enough. And I'm like, sometimes you'll see the ROI from something like this for years to come. Like, look at you. Like, it elevated your other people's perception of you because you were featured on the cover of the magazine. So yeah, you had to do all that work for freaking free, right? And you had to bust your ass and like pull and probably spent hours upon hours of that. But look at what it did. It changed people's perception of the quality of your work.
100%. And it turned it there's just so many ways that it benefited our business because our business, my business, it allowed me the opportunity to really like nurture this relationship with the magazine. And so because I did that, they asked me to plan their first industry gala. And so that was like another thing that I got to add to my kind of portfolio of like the more corporate-y side of our work. Like, look, we planned this whole gala for industry professionals. And I don't know that I would have gotten that opportunity without that relationship already having been established. And like, yes, we got marketing out of it. Like, we had the whole inside cover ad of the magazine for a whole year, and you know, shout outs on social and their website and all the things that you taught me to ask for. But at the time, they had just been bought. It was a whole new publisher. Is that the right word? And so they didn't have a lot of stats. Like, you asked me a lot of really great questions to ask them about like their viewership and their interactions on social and all that stuff, but they were still building out their social media page. So they didn't have a lot of those stats yet at the time. And so that now, like, if somebody were to ask me right now, hey, should I, you know, Arizona Bride asked me to plan their cover shoot, should I do it? I'd be like, oh my God, absolutely. Because it was so beneficial for me back then when they were just getting started. I can't even imagine now that they do have a huge following and a huge viewership and way more magazine sales and all of that stuff. Because back then, like, I didn't get leads from the magazine itself because the whatever it's called, volume of sales, like
Their distribution.
thank you, the distribution like wasn't quite built up yet to what it is
Yeah.
now. The relationships and the exposure and the perceived like quality of my brand, like you said, was really the biggest things that I got out of that, for sure. And they're
But
just
isn't
the
it,
coolest people, so I love
you
having a
know,
good relationship with them.
but isn't it funny that no one else realized that they were also just starting out? You know, they just saw this is a magazine, Arizona Bride magazine, that's a statewide in their head, statewide magazine. Look at this. It looks legit.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how easy it is to convince someone that something is a certain way, luxury or not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So when I first started my business, I used to plan events, but more for like a PR focus, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, I can't, kudos to event planners because I'm good on that. I like to stay in the PR space, but when you're first starting out, you know, when you're first starting out, you do what you got to do to make some freaking money, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not bad at it. I'll say that. It's not something I aspire to do anymore. And we don't do it in the agency anymore. We don't plan the logistics of an event. Now we do a lot of PR and promotion for events, but not the actual logistical decor, any of that kind of stuff. But I would sell sponsorship, also something I never, ever want to do ever again. And we were starting this brand new event for a charity and it was brand new. So I had nothing to go off of for the last years of like, we sold 300 tickets last year and we had this and so was a sponsor. I had no street cred. I had nothing to make this event. Like, how do you sell something that has never happened before
Right.
and people don't have anything to believe in? It's funny, I had a graphic designer create a really beautiful flyer, and that is the only thing I had to sell sponsorships, and it worked because
Yeah.
the moment people saw a flyer, then suddenly the event was real and it was happening. And it was, you know what I mean? It
Yeah, yeah.
looked, the flyer looked very luxurious and upscale and everything. And I sold so much sponsorship off that. We ended up selling out the event. We had a Bravo TV star. He wasn't a TV star just yet. But yeah, we sold it out with 130 guests for the first year strictly off of a flyer because people,
So
but isn't
amazing.
it crazy? It doesn't,
Yeah.
it's
Perception
like,
is reality, 100%.
perception is reality. So after you did all that, your business started to grow and everything. I know you got another pretty crazy inquiry about another partnership. Tell us about the whole Housewives thing, that opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. So, another time that I came to you saying, Whitney, what do I do? Um, so yeah, Bravo was planning their Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 15 girls trip. They always do a big trip. And they wanted it to be in Sedona. And so they were scouting venues for the girls to stay. And so one of the venues that they scouted was the Little Daisy in Jerome, which at the time we were working on like an exclusive partnership with them to be their like in-house planner coordinator team. And so it was kind of just this awesome perfect storm of like we had done a handful of events there that were, the BTO standard, just beautifully executed, wonderfully designed, crossed all our T's, dotted all our I's. They were really impressed with like how we ran events. And so when the Housewives came in and asked the Daisy, like, hey, we're thinking about doing our trip here. Do you have a planner that could do the opening dinner? They recommended us right away, which was so cool. So again, like the importance of relationships, that opportunity I don't think would have come to us without us having such a strong, amazing relationship with the people at the Little Daisy. And so the Little Daisy got us on a call with the Bravo people, and the Bravo people had to kind of like vet us basically and make sure we were legit. And we had to come up with a proposal for like what we would do for the design. And so it was just this really cool opportunity to do what we do best, bring really experiential, outside the box design ideas to the event space. And it was like the freaking Housewives, so we had to bring it to the nth degree. And so they told us very loosely they couldn't expose a lot about the trip or the season yet. And so all we really had to go off of was that because it was a Sedona trip, the kind of vibe of the trip was like, at the time, was like healing. And so we're like, ooh, healing, cool. Like Sedona, crystals, like let's make this really amazing crystal forward tablescape design. Like no flowers, only crystals and candles, and just make it super vibey. And yeah, it was amazing. So we pitched them this design and they loved it. And then we got to work on the set of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Oh my gosh. Okay, obviously they perceived you as being legit enough to work with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, the perception value kept going up and up. So what did you learn? I mean, negotiating these partnerships is so nuanced, right?
Yeah.
Because everything is negotiable. I used to I will say this. I feel really freaking confident negotiating, and I love to negotiate.
Yeah.
I'll ask for anything. It doesn't matter. And even now, like we work with influencers, and these influencers ask us for the most ridiculous stuff, and I'm like, sometimes my team members get so flustered, like, I can't believe she asked us for this. Like, she asked us for $12,000 for one post and two stories, and I'm like, the girl's shooting her shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
You
I'm
gotta
gonna
make
tell
the
her.
ask.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell her no, but
Yeah.
still, like, I mean, it's cute that she's gonna shoot her shot.
Yeah.
Let her do her thing. What did you learn from like negotiating all these partnerships with magazine, with Housewives, with all of that? What do you feel like your biggest takeaway was?
I would definitely say that the ROI is not immediate. For me, the biggest benefit has always come later, and from all sorts of like ancillary benefits, not the direct benefit of being compensated for my planning skills. So like in the case with Bravo, like I was so shocked that Bravo didn't exactly have like they didn't have a huge event budget. I would have thought like, oh my gosh, Housewives, like they're gonna have hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on this trip slash event, and that just was not the case. And it's because they know that the exposure factor and like honestly the clout is worth it for most people, and it was for me, you know. So like in my case, the bulk of what they were able to like promise from a exposure perspective got used up by the Daisy. So the Daisy was giving them so much. Like if you're not familiar with that property, it's so stunning. It's this big like mansion on the cliffside in Jerome. And so the ladies like stayed there for, I think it was like 4 days, 5 days maybe. And so, you know, that's worth like 200 grand or something crazy if you look at their like booking rates. And so their Daisy's legal team and Bravo's legal team worked out like actual contractual trade where the Daisy was promised very specific exposure on the final production of the show. So then when I came along and was like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, Bravo was basically like, no. They were like, we can't promise you any of that because we already promised everything to the Daisy. And I learned that the production team, the team that's in charge of filming the episode, and the post-production team, the team that's in charge of putting the episode all together, are two completely separate teams. They don't speak, and they're all contract workers. So like there's nobody consistent all the time, or very few people that are consistent all the time. And so the producer that I was working with was basically like, the only thing I can contractually guarantee is that the Daisy will be mentioned. She's like, we'll film a ton of B-roll of you. We'll get your team setting up. Like I will do everything in my power to try to get you guys in the final episode. But I cannot guarantee it. So if it's still not worth it for you to do it, because I can't guarantee, like I understand if you need to back out. And so I basically had to decide, like, is it still worth it to me to do all this work with straight up no guarantee that I even get mentioned on the show, let alone like seen on the show? Because they told me they wanted me to like present to the ladies, like speak to them. So I was like standing at the head of the table. I did a whole presentation to them, like spoke to them for 5-10 minutes. We did this like interactive crystal experience with them. There was so much that did not make it to the final cut. So when all was said and done, we were never on camera. We were never mentioned. We were never credited for the event. Like we got literally nothing. But it was still very, very, very worth it to me because I got to use the content. So now I can say I planned a dinner for the Housewives, and I have these clips of them walking onto the rooftop and literally like gasping and being like, oh, this is so stunning. I've never seen anything like this. Like, this is nicer than some people's weddings. Like, that's my favorite quote ever, is Jennifer Tilly says, this is nicer than some people's weddings. Actually, no, I think it was Amanda Francis said, this is nicer than some people's weddings. And it's like this goosebump worthy moment where I'm like, this is like everything I've worked for my entire life, you know? And so I think that having that footage and being able to like use those graphics and use that episode in my own marketing and my own stuff that I do and putting it on my website, like as seen on Bravo, to me, that's still way, way, way worth it. Because the reality is, how many people would have been sitting on their couch watching that episode live, seen my little 2-second like event design by Black Tie Optional on the screen and been like, I'm planning an event in Arizona, like I need to call them. The percentage is so slim, you know? It's all the ancillary benefits that were so much more impactful for me than like the actual exposure on the episode. The exposure on the episode would have literally just been bragging rights. I would have been able to like call my mom and be like, did you see me on Bravo? But other than that, like, yeah. So
you know what?
That was definitely the biggest learning lesson.
Everything you said is such freaking valuable advice for everyone listening, because a lot of who listens to this are marketing and PR people, right? And we're the ones negotiating this a lot of times for our clients. And I even tell our clients this, you know, the actual exposure on the show is this much of it. It is the forever usage that is the real benefit, because you, again, cannot control what they put on the show. And same thing, like when we get our clients into Southern Living, Garden and Gun, Travel and Leisure, that magazine, the idea that the actual tangible magazine somehow lands into someone's hands and they happen to open to that page and see your article, that's the smallest part of all of it. You're freaking missing the point. The point is
Totally.
that from then on out, you can say, featured in Southern Living, featured in Travel and Leisure, featured on Bravo, and it's on you to use all those clips to promote it and pimp the hell out of that. And honestly, I'd rather have that anyway, because you're in control of what you do with that information now, whereas
Yeah.
before, our brands, sometimes our clients can't get past it. They see it as, how are they going to promote me on the show? And you're like, no, baby boo, you're missing the point. The point
Totally.
is that afterwards, we're going to use this to pimp it forever and ever as a
Yeah.
bragging right, but everything you just said is so freaking valuable.
And trust me, like I was sitting on the edge of we had like a little watch party. I was like sitting on the edge of my seat, just like waiting for my face to be on Bravo, because I really thought, like I said, they like had me stand at the front, do this whole thing, like I like had to say it a couple of times. Like I really thought we were going to be like worked into the episode in this really natural way. And even the whole storyline that we developed for the dinner was this like healing experience. And I made these gorgeous menus. Well, I didn't make them. I partnered with somebody who's so talented, and she made these stunning menus that like walked them through, like pick a crystal and, imbibe the crystal with these intentions. And we had the women from Sedona Crystal Vortex come and do like an intention setting ritual. There was so much that did not make it on TV at all. And so we're all sitting, my whole team and I were sitting at the edge of our seat, just like waiting for our faces to be on TV. And I swear to you, there is a 0.3-second clip of my girl Jenny's hands setting up like a candle. And that's it. That's what we got.
I saw one on your story where you were like, here we are. And I like hit back like 16 times. Where I was like, wait, where's Chelsea? I'm trying so hard.
That's her hands.
Yeah.
You could tell because she has these long, beautiful nails and these cute little tattoos. And I'm like, I know that's Jenny's hands, but yeah, no credit at all.
Oh my gosh. But again,
but you know what?
You're working
I'm
the
like
benefit.
waiting for the day that Amanda Francis or Kathy Hilton or Jennifer Tilly calls me to plan one of their events, because they were so impressed with that one.
Yes. Well, that's so cool. And I'm so happy for all of your success. You're crushing it. And like, I feel like this is only the beginning. You're only 6 years in, and you're already, you know what I mean? Like, I love that you see the bigger picture rather than how much is someone going to pay me for this? It's like, no. How many years will I be able to use this footage forever to say that I was featured on Bravo, that I've worked with the Housewives, that, you know what I mean? Like, kudos to you for seeing the bigger picture, because a lot of business owners never get to that point. And that's why they don't understand PR,
I'm lucky to have people like you in my corner to guide me through these decisions, because you were the hugest cheerleader through literally every single one of these things where I hit you up and I'm like, Whitney,
I
help!
got your back.
What do I do?
I got your back always. I'm like, ask them to say this, but don't say this. And wait, and if they say this, then you say this back.
Yes.
I don't know why I thrive off of a negotiation so hard. It's like one of my
Totally.
favorite parts of the business.
It's because we're Leos. We love it.
No, 100%. And you know what? It's why we're friends. So, this has been amazing. If people want to connect with you, tell them how to find you, find BTO, give them the whole scoop.
Yeah, definitely. So our website, btoevents.com, Instagram at btoevents. Would love to hear from you.
Love it. Well, Chelsea, thank you for coming on the show. So happy for all your growth and success. This is only the beginning.
Thank you so much. Love you times a million.
Love ya. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. We will see you on the next one. That's it for today. If something in this episode landed for you, share it, screenshot it, and send it to someone in the industry who needs to hear it. And come connect with me personally on Instagram at @TheWhitneyLee, or you can find me on LinkedIn. See you next week.